Now we're going to talk a bit more in depth about emphasis, balance, and contrast using simple basic forms. A single box shape on a page doesn't represent much in the way of emphasis, balance, contrast, or rhythm, but the only thing that you can sense from it is a frustrating sameness. It is centered, and because of that, it creates no tension. In order for it to create a tension, it needs to be moved around the picture plane until it's no longer absolutely centered top to bottom or side to side. Two box shapes on a page in opposite corners begins to create some tension, but the balance is even. This is even interesting in a way to create balance. There are uses where you might want to place graphics and images into this kind of juxtaposition, but not very many. Here the two box shapes are still the same in size, but the overall balance has been affected. The shift in weight and placement of the two shapes is decidedly towards the top of the picture plane. The inverse of this would be equally more interesting than the previous example because of the shift in balance. Here the tension between the two elements is too strong. This can become overcome by either having them not touch or to change the size of one of the two forms. Remember the business about don't let items kiss. Here the tension has been increased so that one of the two forms is larger, more than double the lower box. The emphasis is decidedly towards the top left. If this were the placement for graphics on a page, the more important of the two would be placed here. Here the overlap between the two dissimilar sizes creates a tension, however the emphasis is still towards the top left. The addition of a third element provides contrast. The emphasis is on the top left side of the picture plane. In an effort to change the emphasis, I have enlarged the new triangular element. However, the overall effect diminishes the tension between the top square element and the new triangular element and makes for an inferior composition in that they're too similar in size. If I attempt to overlap the elements to change the emphasis, the resulting muddle, while weighted to the top left, is rather meaningless. A better arrangement would be to shift emphasis by changing the color and thus the weight of one of the elements, in this case the enlarged triangle. However, with the very tip of the triangle touching the right side of the top square and the base of the triangle lying directly across the middle of the lower square, the balance, while perfectly symmetrical, is dull. Better to move the triangle away from the top square element and up and off the center line of the lower square. By adding a fourth element, the composition gains contrast and begins to suggest depth where none is actually present because this is a two-dimensional piece.